We're back, baby. Biggity, biggity back. Frick, 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 part 2. So, a few days ago, I uploaded the first part of my Temptation Island on Netflix recap. I told you guys that I finally watched Temptation Island, and now I'm kind of obsessed, but it's raising my blood pressure to scary degrees. That has not stopped me from coming back here to talk about the second half of the season. Now, before I was talking about how I wanted to do 2 parts, but then I realized that there's so much mess in these next 5 episodes that maybe this will be 3. We shall see. I don't know why I said we shall see. It'll have to be 3. I don't know if that'll be the next video or if I'll follow up later, but I'll keep you posted. We'll see. Today we're talking about episodes 6 through 10. If you didn't see 1 through 5, that'll be linked down below. That is also on my channel. That's where you see the setup, the way that men prey on women's downfall. And I hate it. I hate it so much. It's so bad. And today we will see whether or not they actually get what they deserve. Will the men that have so much nerve to do absolutely criminal shit on camera be held accountable for their actions? We shall see. But first up, hello. My name is Kendall. If you're new around here, welcome. Not new around here, what is up, home skillet biscuit? I have different braids today. Last video, I had bohos, and as you may have noticed in the QuickTime title card that I put in there, they lasted 6 days. I had actually gone to DreamCon, and I had gotten those braids primarily for DreamCon, and by the time I was on the airport on the way back, the whole back of my head was slipping out. I was sitting on the braids. I was sleeping on the braids. There was no choice. I was walking, and just a braid gets caught. So I gave up, took those out, and now I have straight backs with little curly pieces in it that are also falling out. I had 2 pieces right here that were curly. They both came out. They went straight back, but this back part of my hair isn't long enough to really hold it. So if I move my head down, they were just popping out. So now I have a cute little bun situation that I'm going to try to keep in as long as possible, but it is what it is. This is what I get for impulsively cutting my hair in January. So but for the time being, I think it's cute. Yeah, it's giving a little bit. I would do 2 buns and show you the curly pieces, but it's a precarious situation. It is what it is. So that's my update. Hi. Also, I got a new nose ring. I accidentally got it for free because Amazon took too long to deliver it, so I just canceled it, and then it came anyway. So yes, today we're going to talk about mostly women who are being put through it by men. Y'all need therapy, but whatever. Though they will be treated like shit, they look good. They have good dresses. They look good when they go there. Everybody's all moisturized. Everybody's hair look nice. So, that's a hope. And sometimes, if you don't feel good, at least you can get some cute clothes that I'm going to use as a segue over to today's sponsor. Hello everyone, this is Kennie, and today's video is sponsored by ThredUp, the online thrift store that takes all of the annoying parts of thrifting out and keeps only the best parts in while adding other elements that make it that much more convenient to shop secondhand. My least favorite thing as a plus size tall woman when shopping secondhand is the act of going to a thrift store and searching through musty bins only to find one thing that fits you, only to find that you hate it. Everything smells like your grandma's shoebox. But ThredUp allows you to organize clothes by brand, style, size, price range, quickly and effectively for things secondhand that you wouldn't be able to find at other stores, and especially not at the price that you get by getting them on ThredUp. ThredUp makes it easier to shop secondhand so you can get those better prices, lessen your amount of waste that you put into the world, and give new life to items that otherwise would have just ended up in a landfill. This time I decided to get some spring summer dresses. Original price was $41.99 and I paid $23.10. Original price $41.74. I paid $20.83. The one that I'm wearing right now, this beautiful blue, new favorite. It's so pretty. I don't know why I don't wear cobalt blue more. I'm about to do it. Original price $44.99. I paid $20.25. But also one of the things that I wanted to get are backpacks. Particularly when traveling, I find that backpacks are a lot easier to carry than a purse. Or if you're going to concerts or festivals, stuff like that, having a backpack that's on the small, medium size is actually a lot more convenient, I find, than carrying a full-size purse or those little clutches that you can put lip gloss and your thoughts in. So I decided to pick up 3 of those, 2 from Adidas. Original price $26.99. I paid $18.90. Original price $29.99. I paid $24. And one from Michael Kors, if I'm not mistaken, and it had a little charm. I guess the person that had it before me was a Libra, and though I am not a Libra, it's cute, so I'm keeping it. Original price $113.74. I paid $45.50. And if you want to check out ThredUp, you can get things on there for even less, with even more savings if you use my code Kennie50 to get 50% off your first order. Big thanks again to ThredUp for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get on to the debauchery. Yes, so last time we were here, 2 men had explicitly cheated via sex. Like they had sex. One man, Breon, had a threesome with 2 women. Awesome. And then the other was Grant, who has been having sex consistently at this point, as we will see, with the same woman, Natalie, but that doesn't stop the absolute unmitigated gall both of them have through the rest of this season. So excited for that. Sounds like a great time for that. These are awful, and baby, being single is not worse than this. It is not. Episode 6. If you recall, the last episode ended with someone going into the Haven, and it was at 1:30 in the morning. So the men are like, wait, they could also have a physical connection with someone else? That's crazy. I hope not. Meanwhile, laying next to the bitch they're cheating with, but that's neither here nor there, I guess. Tyler, the next morning, while talking to the other guys, ends up saying that if he had to guess, it was probably Ashley or Taylor going into the Haven, which seems to make Grant visibly uncomfortable.
Oh, I don't even want to think about this, bro. That's cool.
Well, you asked it. You started wanting to hear. You asked.
He's like, I hope it's not true. Like, I really hope it's not true. Like, let's stop talking about it, which, again, is crazy because you've been cheating on her. Come to find out, it was actually Ashley going in there with Danny, but they didn't do anything. They just did it to, like, some psychological warfare. And I get it. Honestly, I would have started sucking a dick outside of it. I would have put a hand in just to turn the light off, but I would suck a dick outside of it so you can see that shit. I'm hurt. But they have more self-respect, I guess. And they went in there and was like, oh, we just want to set the light off to do a little payback. But like, you know, we're not going to get crazy. They didn't even kiss in there, which is crazy. But soon after that, here comes Mark. He brings back that dude Chase or whatever, the one that eliminated himself last time. And he's like, I feel like I didn't follow through with my connection with Taylor and I didn't give myself enough of a chance to see that through. And honestly, it's not that important other than it's the preface for Mark to give Taylor a really good pep talk. Dad Mark. People were telling me I was right about him being a girl dad, which is awesome. So thank you for that. I feel reaffirmed. He's like, it really stuck with me when you were talking about like everybody leaves me. And I wanted to show you that this man came back, like whether or not something happens with him, that's not true. This person came back to have a connection with you. And some other better points I think he made. Who cares about Chase? Like, or Case or whatever but like general better points that he made about like you are a person deserving of love and affection and all that. So Mark being Mark, love that. Taylor does end up telling Case that she is now single because he had crossed the boundary in the last bonfire. And it seems that around this time, this is when the girls actually start to loosen up. They like have drinks, they body paint, they start doing the things that the men did on night 1. They actually have some like fun and they actually got to know these people a little more, it seems like. So it's like, oh, I'm hanging out with friends, some that I might be a little more than friends with, particularly Taylor and Yaman. I keep pronouncing his name wrong and people keep correcting me. Yaman. I keep wanting to say ramen with a Y. Yaman, but it's Yaman. Okay. And she's kind of working her way through whether or not she wants to explore that connection physically, like kissing and touching and whatnot. But now that she's like, well, he on that bullshit, he with that K girl or whatever, I can technically do whatever the I want. And I'm like, I mean, yeah, go get you some chocolate. Ugh, I hate that, like chocolate. Ugh. Meanwhile, the men are still having fun, but they ironically are going in the more wholesome direction, pitching tents and shit instead of like just sucking on a titty on the beach, basically. Breon is still on his rampage trying to get close to any of the girls. Now he's trying to get closer to Amaya. I like Amaya. I talked about that in the last part. I think you'll see more about why I like her in this section. She's like, I see him as a friend. We're flirty, yada yada, but he flirts with everybody. He wants to everybody. And I think my place is more so in a platonic space. She's also one of the few people that actually call him on his bullshit, which is going to be very annoying to him, but is obviously something that he needs because what the hell just happened in this last few days? Incredible, because the man's concerning. He's concerning. Like, what the Speaking of the sexual thing, Breon is still in this space where he's trying to rationalize that what he did was completely fine and is making a note. Basically, he says that it's better that I had a threesome instead of having sex with one other person because that's encroaching on the sacred place, the sexually sacred place he has with Shantae. But if I do it with 2 women, Great. Okay, like seriously, you are delusional in a way that's clinical, like concerning. I'm gonna need you to talk to somebody. Oh my God. Now, not that they really needed to do this, but Danny and Ashley admit that they're into each other. Like we know, we can see they've been very like close and getting progressively closer. And they both go into the Haven. At that point, they actually kiss and spend some time together. And I was like, finally, girl, she's getting her smile back. I said that in the last part. I'm like, she looked mad the whole first chunk of these episodes, and now that she know Grant ain't shit, she can let it go, and she's actually like just enjoying her time, which is awesome, because she know that Grant over there being fucking embarrassing, and she's like detached herself from that at this point. She's like, I don't give a that's his shit. Now, being that the light goes off, the men are incredibly embarrassing, so they're like, we can't let, particularly Breon, he's like, we can't let them outdo us, somebody gotta go in there. So Grant and Natalie go in there and have sex in the tent. I think this is the second or third time they've done that to send the light off again, and it's like, okay, petty. And despite that being the last thing we saw of Grant, I go back and forth, who's worse, Breon or Grant? Because they're both scary to me. Like, the cheating. The way that you process information is frightening, because he has the nerve to say to the other men in the morning that he would forgive Ashley.
I feel like I'm starting to really like Natalie, but like I would forgive Ashley, bro.
He would forgive Ashley for what? What are you forgiving her for? From what I understand, it's her telling people that he's a piece of shit. He would forgive her for that, even though he's been a piece of shit. He cannot wrap his head around how her reaction of, wow, this ain't shit, is a reaction to the things that he did. And instead, thinks of him as completely unprovoked offenses to him and his character, and that it's something that he needs to forgive. You're terrifying. Oh my God. They having a piece of shit off, him and Breon. Like, even in the talking head, he goes on like, you know, she just has to let go of her resentment. Like, she has all this resentment, ignoring that I'm cheating on her right now. But like, if she could change, you know, I could see myself marrying her one day. She could be my wife one day.
And hear me out on all the major things that need to change in our relationship. If she's willing to put in that work, I'd marry Ashley one day.
You scare me. Oh. Speaking of another that scares me, Courtney goes up to Breon to talk to him post threesome about where his head is at. He says something along the lines of like, I still don't regret it. I feel like I needed to have the threesome to know that that's not what I want. You know, I put threesomes on such a high pedestal, and now that he's done it again, he realized that's not actually fulfilling to him, and that's not what he wants. Courtney's like, do you think Shantae will forgive you for this? And he's like, yeah.
Think she's gonna forgive you?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I think so.
Really? That's very confident.
Why not? I said
don't
the
know.
question is, why wouldn't you?
Like immediately. No thinking about it, no hesitation. I don't want a to feel that sure about me. If anything, I want you to feel sure that I won't. Because he keeps going, just like disrespect. Like, it's bad enough that you cheated on her in a threesome. So with two people, you cheated with 50% more cheating, 100% more cheating. But now post-coital disrespect, you have the nerve to also say she ain't gonna do shit about it. She'll take me back. Why wouldn't she? Again, you scare me. You scare me. You're scary. I know I keep saying that, but you are a fate worse than death. Like, I can't. Oh my God. Marky Mark comes and it's time for another bonfire. Another situation where the men come in, barely see anything, and they're about to piss themselves, and the women see them committing war crimes, and they're just supposed to hold it together. So men go first this time. I think they go first most of the time because the women are going to see the worst sides of it. So Tyler sees Taylor getting closer to Yemen, okay. But overall, nothing crazy. It's just her like looking happy for once. Breon sees the clip of Shantae crying at the thought of him cheating. Remember when the first Haven light went off? She was like, I hope that's not him. She was like, I hope it's not him. I hope it's not him. She's crying. She's breaking down. Only then does he get, I guess, a little bit of realization that he'd hurt her and humiliated her in front of the entire world to see. This is before she even sees the clip of him actually cheating on her. Again, though, he still doesn't say that he regrets the threesome. He's like, I feel like I wouldn't have known that doesn't fulfill me unless I hadn't, I didn't know the stove was hot until I touched it. You. I don't, whatever. But then he kind of says like, yeah, she's gonna go through it. She's gonna go through it. But like, if she can like withstand, I know I could give her a lifetime of happiness because I know that I don't have to hold the threesome thing over her head.
I feel better now that I know I don't got to hold that over Shantae's head. So it's going to suck. And she's gonna go through it. I feel like this pain that she's feeling now it's only for a moment, and I feel as though I can give her a lifetime of happiness knowing that I don't gotta hold that over her head.
Because essentially what he says is that when they came to the show, he was holding a lot over her and basically blaming her for why their relationship had so many problems. Blaming the fact that she wasn't sexual enough. She wasn't doing this, she wasn't doing that, and that's the reason why we weren't working. Instead of just acknowledging that y'all weren't working because fundamentally y'all have two different priorities. One, because sex seems to be like a very big deal to you. Why don't you just find someone who has that high of a sex drive? If it's that crucial, like if that's so fundamentally important to you, that's fine. I think it's a little short-sighted personally, but people live how they want to live. That's fine. But go find that motherfucker instead of embarrassing and humiliating her because you don't know what you want. But anyway, he's like, but now that I know, like I've had threesomes and whatever, like I realize I want to settle with her. That's kind of how it sounded to me. But yeah, you chose to be with a woman who doesn't want to do threesomes and then cheat on her because she doesn't want to do threesomes. She's told you that. If that's something that you want, then go get it. Go find it. Leave her ass alone. Like, I hate you so much I could shit. It's really exhausting. It seems like it's been something I've been seeing a lot recently. I mean, it's always been there. That's a very common thing. People get with people who don't meet their needs or meet what they want and then get mad that they can't mold them into that person instead of just going out and using that criteria to find who they want. But it does seem like, being that I watch habitually a lot of these like dating shows, I'm also currently watching another dating show that I don't think I'm gonna make a video on. What is it? The Sneaky Links. It's not interesting enough throughout all the episodes to make a video on, but I'm just like catching it and it's like, why do y'all keep saying you want stuff that you don't want, and vice versa? I understand that it's really hard to like exert and stand on what you want, but you're not helping yourself or anybody else by not doing that. But he feels like he can go to Shantae, say that it's out of his system and she'll forgive him and that they'll be able to move on from there. Because, quote, that's a good woman right there.
In my opinion, I don't need to make a case to her. I feel like I can go up there and apologize and she's probably still gonna stay, you know, because that's a great woman right there.
I would just like to say, I don't want any man like this to call me a good woman. I'm the worst woman. I'm a fucking menace. I'm not a good woman. I don't have grace or whatever the Reggie Steele was talking about. I ain't got no grace. I have no resilience. My coochie don't taste like pineapple or whatever the they be trying to make people do. Like, I don't stand by my man. I'm no ride or die. If you get locked up or whatever 50 Cent said, no, I won't be there. Unless you got locked up fighting authoritarianism. But odds are, at least with these, that is unlikely to be the case. I'm the worst woman. I don't do nothing right. That's fine. But Mark is like, well, yeah, that's a good woman crying because of shit you did. Real ass. Lino sees Alexa getting along with some dude named Gino who is pretty tame. There's nothing sexual about it. They seem like actually quite good friends. I think they say something along the lines like, man, I love you. But it's like a bro, I love you, bro. Not like a, I'm in love with you. You know, they seem like they're getting along. But Lino does notice that it's another Italian guy, which makes him wonder, there's pros and cons to that. Like, she's trying to find someone maybe that's similar to him, but in finding someone that's similar to him, maybe that's making her more attracted to him. That could be a thing. But overall, again, compared to all the other people's relationships, Lino and Alexa seem to be fine. And the last one is Grant seeing Ashley getting closer to Danny and how they went into the tent together and you can hear them making out. And again, wild shit. He has the nerve to be visibly hurt that she's talking about how comfortable she is with this guy, how she's feeling all these good things that she hasn't felt with Grant for a long time. And I'm sitting there thinking, y'all been only dating for like a year and a half. How long have you hated this? Y'all haven't been together 20, 30 years or whatever. And like, wow, it's been a long time since I felt this way. Y'all been together for 18 months. That's not good. That's sad, really. That's the whole relationship. Again, I'm excited that she seemed to be leaving this ass in the dust.
She just doesn't want my love.
Yes, and maybe there's a part of you that doesn't really want her love either. The only reason I bring it up is there's a gap between what you're saying and what your actions are.
At the end of this, the men are told that they will have the option to send a 30-second message to their partners to say how they feel, how they're processing things, anything they want to get off their chest. They have the option to send the message or not. It is completely up to them. And there you go. They're sent on their way. Next are the women who have to see war crimes. Ashley sees Grant still Natalie, spliced in with him saying, if Ashley changes and lets go of the resentment, I would marry her. That thing. Oh my God. And that shit was wild to behold because you can tell she's so over it because her and every girl there just starts laughing because it's comical. You sound insane.
Is he crazy? I have no words left for this child.
Cause like, what else can you do? You just sound unwell, dude. Is he talking about if I let go of bitch, you whatever, it doesn't matter, go. Alexa sees Lino talking to Alex and basically, flirting a little bit, trying to be tempted by her, which she, it doesn't feel great to see, but she understands that's what they came on here to do, and she's just trying to trust that everything will lead back to them coming back together. Reminder, this couple didn't have any boundaries, but of them all, he's the only one that hasn't kissed anybody or anybody, and we're getting closer to the end of this experience, and he's the only one that doesn't seem to want to go beyond flirting, really. So Taylor sees Tyler going into the Haven with Kay. They're having fun, they're bantering, they're kissing, they're everything, they're kissing on the beach. Yeah, he seems pretty done with the relationship. He's like, yeah, I'm pretty done with the relationship. I feel myself falling in love with Kay. And Taylor is like, he seems happy. I'm happy for him. At this point, I'm kind of divested from him and I'm deciding to use this experience for myself. I'm scripting for myself and I'm choosing to be the person who deserves to be with the person that chooses me every day. And I'm like, yes, come on, growth. Work, growth. I like you better now, Taylor, because he was pissing me off early because she was very insecure. And like now she's like realizing that this is about me. I deserve to be with someone who doesn't disrespect me, first of all, and treats me well. And I'm like, work. And the episode ends right before Shantae gets terribly embarrassed by Breon on television. Episode 7. So Shantae sees the threesome and her response is I don't know. I don't understand it. Like, genuinely, I don't understand what's happening right now because like she looks mildly disappointed, but not like super surprised or hurt. She doesn't cry. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't anything. And I was like, is she in shock? What's happening? She just kind of shakes her head slightly and blinks unseeingly almost. She doesn't even really react to him saying afterwards, like, I don't regret it. I feel like she'll forgive me and it is what it is. Not only is he cheating on you, calling you fucking stupid, but okay. And she's like, I don't know who this person is. Like, I was so sure that he wouldn't do this to me. And I feel like if we were in the real world, he wouldn't have done this. What? Bitch, I don't know why people call this not the real world. Like, what the are you talking about? Are we not in a material plane? Are we not looking and doing and had agreements going into this the same that we have in our relationship outside of this? This is the real world in the sense that he didn't fake him. He didn't use a hologram. He didn't use VR. Like, what are you talking about? He had sex with 2 people. He'd made measure steps, understanding that you would see it. That's bad enough to cheat on you in general. Bad enough to cheat on you in a threesome. He knew in this context, you will see it. And he did it anyway. That disrespected you and cheated on you. But after doing both of those things, said again, she'll get over it. That hates you. He do. And if you don't, I'd hate to see who you hate then. If this ain't how you treat somebody you hate. She's like, this doesn't deserve my tears. And I'm like, maybe she's a simmerer. Like, I know people, some of my closest friends, they don't get angry immediately. I get angry immediately and then settle. Aries man. That's my second time in a row, I think, mentioning my Aries moon. It's my crazy. But like, I get very angry and then stop. And it's very frustrating because if I'm angry, but I don't want to explode and I can't stop, I start crying. And then I get mad that I'm crying. Oh my God. Like, if I can't explode, I start crying so I don't beat an ass. Whenever you want to just cuss an out and you realize situationally that's not conducive to adult conversation, I just start crying. And now I'm mad that I'm crying. I'm going to chalk it up to her being a processor. But if this is going to continue, if this is how she's going to understand it and detach herself from it, like he wouldn't have done this in the real world, there's nothing to tell me that she won't forgive him at the final bonfire where they meet together and discuss the process and apologize and yada, yada, yada. So I was just like, that sucks. I personally think you should light him on fire, but okay. So they tell the women about the 30-second message that they can give or decide not to. And that's the end. The women come back to the house. I'm starting to get a little concerned, honestly, about Shantae because she's not reacting, which is honestly kind of scary. And the other women in the house are concerned. They're like, I don't know. She's not reacting in a way that feels proportionate to what we like. That was bad. That was really bad.
Shantae, why aren't you reacting? She's like, well, he wouldn't normally do this if we weren't here, but we are here, and he did it.
I didn't mention this before. They was f***ing until the morning. They left the shower and the birds was chirping. They're like, oh my God. They was in there all night f***ing in the shower. Wasn't no quickie. They was in there for a while. I guess she starts to appear more sad. Like she starts to cry, but she's not emoting, right? She's kind of like, I hate that for him. Kind of more of this like, I hate that he would self-sabotage like that. I guess I understand that because that is some crazy self-sabotage. You're like, overall, this is a great relationship. You know what I'm going to do? Ruin it in a public way, display, blow it up. That's self-sabotage and I got hit in the crossfire. But at that point, it's like, am I constantly gonna be in the area of shrapnel fire every time you blow up? I'm not gonna do that. And I'm like, what about you, bitch? Him. Him and his, him. Like, how you treat me wrong and I'm over here worried. I guess that's real love. I don't know. How about you real love yourself? Like, what the I wish a mother would cheat on me like that. And then I'm like, I just hate that for him. Him. He was having a good time. And I feel like if you want him to actually learn some shit from this self-sabotage, he's gonna have to lose shit. And I feel like she's over here making excuses for why she should forgive him because, you know, it was a moment of self-sabotage and we'll find out later that he had a really rough upbringing, yada, yada, yada. So there's reasons why he's like this. And I'm sure there is. I assumed so. People don't just pop out the wound doing crazy shit like this. But also there ain't shit I can do about it. That's him. Personally, I'm not interested in continuing to be the innocent bystander of your own self-implosion. F that. Like, absolutely not. When you do crazy shit like this, people leave. That is the natural progression of things. Maybe you should consider not doing stupid shit like this. Get some therapy. Get some accountability. She's reeling because she's like, he spoke with so much assuredness before we got here that, you know, we're going to come out of this unscathed. And not only did we not, he embarrassed me. I'm over here wearing his earrings and necklace looking stupid. I don't want to journal because the entire time I was writing letters to him. She hasn't been making any romantic at all, not even flirtatious interactions with anybody on this fucking island. She's been minding her own damn business, waiting to come back to him. And she was talking to him, to other guys on there, talking about how great he is and all these great qualities he has. And now she has to come back and be like, never mind. He had a threesome. Embarrassing. You're an embarrassment. You should feel bad and you should reap the consequences of that shit, period. She's like, I feel bad for him because he's going to look terrible. We were talking about our kids and how much I'm excited to talk to my kids about how great their father is. Can I do that now? No, you can't, because now on national TV, there's evidence of their father cheating on you in a threesome. I just knew that all of this shit, like, sure, she was thinking of very reasonable reasons to not be with this man, but some told me she was like, when we get to the end, she's going to take him back. Meanwhile, Breon is chatting with Amira, and that's where he tells her about the threesome. They were going to journal together, and they're friendly. They're not, like I said, they're flirtatious, but Amira is very much so like, I'm not interested. He's too flirtatious, and like he's trying to everybody, whereas I'm just here to be friends and offer a different insight on things. She's thinking of this journal as just like a fun bonding experience, but he's thinking of it as his opportunity to complain about the sexual incompatibilities with him and Shantae. Well, first off, he starts to talk about how he used to blame her for her lack of sexual expression, I guess, as for why they had problems. And he's now, after realizing that he hurt her, realizes that that was just his excuse for being a bad boyfriend. I don't know why having the threesome helped you reach that. I don't get it. Like, you've had threesomes before, and why did this one, like, wow, maybe I'm a bad boyfriend? Like, what the f? Anyway, and then he starts to get more explicit about the like logistic issues of them having sex, particularly like pain issues. And Amira is like, I think this is way beyond my pay grade. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable, which is fair. Then he gets mad. He says something along the lines of like, you're a woman, just listen.
Like, for me, this conversation is way above my pay grade.
No, it's not. Just listen, bro.
No, I
Listen.
feel like it is.
Listen.
Okay.
You're a woman. Just listen.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't shock me. Again, going back to the Madonna horror thing, a lot of the Madonna thing is being a listening ear, a mother figure, a breast to cry on and lay your head on that you coddle into and then go another woman. So the way that he sees good girls is to be a listener and a therapist and to take on all of this like shit instead of him going to someone whose job it is to be the therapist. And when she says, I'm uncomfortable with that, he gets upset and he's like, you're so weird. And she's like, what? What was that?
People are so fucking weird.
Sorry?
I said people are weird.
Whatever, Brian.
And I was like, good for her. I like that bitch. She cool. She cool as She was like, I don't with that. Now we're at the places that we're kicking off more dudes and more women from the houses. Each person has to pick 2 people to stay, and everybody else that isn't picked goes home. It's not that interesting. They keep all the people for the most part that you would think, except one person that goes home is Courtney. Breon doesn't pick Courtney or Alex to stay. The 2 women that he had the threesome with. And Alex is saved by another guy. I think Grant saves her to stay in the house. So Courtney, after participating in said threesome, goes home. That's fucked up. That's kind of wild. But I mean, in fairness, in a way, that sounds like some Breon shit. But he's like, yeah, I did the sex. The women are not considered people. It's just the experience. And he's like, yeah, I'm done with that. Both of them can go. They're gone. And Courtney is like, oh, I thought we were building a connection, but I guess that was not the case. Because again, he doesn't see the capability of having a sexual connection as well as a friendship. He has had the sex. It is done. And that's weird. I think that's weird. To not be able to see that as a capability is innately misogynistic and fucked up. It's like not being able to see women as full people, and like once the sex in particular is finished, they are disposable, and it's gross. Very, very gross. Gross shit. Amira ends up saying to Breon, like, I feel like you don't respect me. There's shit that you do that shows that you're not considerate of me. And she says in the talking head, like, I told him I was uncomfortable. He didn't give a about that. That's a bad friend. Being interested in like a romantic thing. That's a bad friend. So like, I need you to deal with that. But eventually they do end up making up because she challenges him and she doesn't deal with his bullshit. And he obviously needs that because there seems to be a lot of people, particularly women around him, that he gets frustrated with when they hold him accountable for shit. And he's like, oh, well, maybe that's what I need. What you need is a fucking therapist. But okay, sorry. I know I'm saying the same shit, but it's like he's using people, particularly women around him, to do the work that he needs to do. But now it's time for those messages to be exchanged. And this was fun. This is a fun time. First, we have Ashley getting a message from Grant. And though it shouldn't surprise me, it always does. Because Grant, I shit you not, says how heartbroken he is about the way that Ashley has talked about him, calling him a piece of shit, saying that she can't trust him. And he's heartbroken by how she's treated him.
I feel heartbroken by the way that you've talked about me and the way that you've treated me.
You know, I'm a good man, I'm a good father, I'm a good this, that, and I don't deserve the way you've treated me. I've always thought of you and focused on your feelings at the detriment of my own, but I forgive you.
I've only focused on your feelings and have neglected my own because I felt responsible for breaking you, and I deserve to be loved the way that I need. But I forgive you, and finally, I forgive myself.
I've said it 4 times or whatever already today, but you niggas scare me, like dead ass. You niggas are frightening. Then we see what Ashley sends Grant, and she don't send him shit. What the is there to say? This is loony. I'm speechless. You have left me with nothing to say, you fucking loser. Like, it would be too much work to actually be angry. It's just don't answer. I don't want to know you. I want to ghost you. I want to act like you died. That's how I think is the most appropriate way to go about this. Like, send him off to sea, walk the brig or whatever. Like, it's over. And then he, again, has the nerve to be like, wow, says a lot. You know, the silence is an answer. That's crazy. Like, I've been fighting so hard for us. And I guess she's just continuing to hold that resentment. Cool. Alexa and Lena send messages back and forth, and both of them are just like affirming like, wow, yeah, I really love you and I want to be with you. So that's good. We have one couple. Taylor doesn't send a message because, again, is there to say to Tyler. He's with a whole other bitch. Tyler says some kind of vague, I want the best for you and I love you and I miss you. But it doesn't sound like I can't wait to get back to you and start our relationship over or anything. It feels like yeah, this is for the best message type thing. I thought things would go differently, but it's not. So it is what it is. Shantae sits down and hears Breon basically say how he's ready to love her and how he wants to be the man that she dreams of having. What else is say? He briefly acknowledges that a boundary has been crossed, but he knows that when he did it, that wasn't what he needed. And he knows that now, blah, 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 nigga shit, whatever. She somehow leaves this saying that he sounds apologetic.
I guess it's like good to hear that he has remorse for what he did. Sounded very like apologetic. I just wish everything he said was how he acted this entire time, I guess.
I don't know what the she's talking about. He didn't say sorry. I don't know how you can sound apologetic when you didn't say sorry.
The boundary I crossed is not what I needed in my life, and I'll never let you feel insufficient. I love you.
He did not say those words. He said, yeah, I did it, but I realized it's not what I needed. So, like, he doesn't sound particularly remorseful. He thinks of it as the thing that needed to happen. I needed to dog you out, to know. Wild shit. Cuckoo bird shit. Okay. And she sends him a response that is closer to any type of emotional response. Like, again, she hasn't had any like outburst that feels appropriate to this betrayal, but she's crying at least in this one. And she's like, when you said you didn't regret it, that crushed me. Something vaguely about I'm hurt and I hope that when we see each other again, we'll have some clarity or some shit like that. And I'm like, y'all don't wish death on death for me. But yeah, after seeing that video, I guess actually seeing a video addressed to him that shows her hurt and crying, I guess finally it kind of hits Breon that I don't know why it took so long, but that he f***ed up and he's like, I feel humbled. And then he start crying in the talking head. You. Anyway, episode 8, after he comes back from listening to the message, and basically he's talking to the other women, and we don't see him saying explicitly like I did not cheat on her, but from what I understand from Amaya talking to him, she's like, you're going around saying that you didn't cheat on her when you did. That is what you did. Okay. And he's like, you can't think of this like the real world. She was like, no, what you did is cheat on her.
And I feel like he just doesn't take responsibility for anything that he does, because right now it's all about him.
Point blank, period. As you continue to disrespect her, it makes me not want to go on the date with you. So I'm going to decline. Because he does ask her on one of the dates that are coming up. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. That's whatever. He's like, I don't need to deal with this shit. I'm worried about Shantae. I'm not worried about it. I'll go by myself. And I'm like, first of all, again, real bitch, love her. And 2, you ain't learned shit. You don't understand why she's doing that. You're like, all this extra shit, like, idiot. Anyway, so the goes to get a snow cone by himself and just sit there. And he's like, yeah, I guess I realize I don't like to be alone. No. Yes, you don't like to be alone. That's a trauma response. Maybe instead of ruining your life and those around you, you figure out why you're doing these things so you can stop doing these things. Okay. Ashley and Danny go to a pottery class. Very sensual, very sexy. Ooh, real ghost moment. And they kiss. And I'm like, oh. They also like sleep in the same bed and they at least make out in her bed. I don't think they have sex, but if they did, good for her. Taylor and Yaman get closer in more of a romantic way than just friendship. They end up like kissing under the waterfalls, and that was very scenic and beautiful. I was like, well, I'm gonna swim down under the waterfalls. Like, good for her. She a whole new bitch. Good for her. He with a whole nother girl. Like, she does say like, it doesn't surprise me that he has like gone on with another woman because he was married and then he got with me and now he's going on to somebody. Like, he cannot be alone and he hasn't learned anything. So I like spending time with Yaman. I'm not thinking of running off into the sunset with him the way that Tyler is talking about. He's talking about like falling in love and yada, yada, yada. I'm enjoying him. I'm liking this, but I find that this experience is more for me than I thought it was. And I was like, good girl. Yeah, get your little dip it and do it. But this is about you. This is about you. Speaking of which, Tyler and Kay are like doing mud masks and kissing under the sunset and yada yada. Grant and Natalie are just together now, I guess, to such an extent that the other in the house are like, oh, are they in like love? Is this real or is this just like for the island? Like, what's happening? So I'm like, yeah, I guess they leaving together. And before you know it, it's already time for another bonfire. Shantae sees the clip of Amaya saying like, I'm not cool with how you disrespected her. I'm not cool with you saying that you didn't cheat on her when you did. I'm declining the date. And Shantae is like, I'm proud of her. Good for her. I'm happy that she set that boundary. That's wild that he's like being disrespectful to me beyond this. Like he's speaking of me negatively, I guess. And they're like, well, when you guys see each other, you know, you're going to need some particular strength to have this hashing thing out with him. And she's like, oh, you're going to see some strength from me because it's going to be a rough conversation for him. And I'm like, bitch, no, okay, whatever. Ashley sees Grant writing Natalie a love letter about how he wants to see how things go with her in the future. And Ashley's like, I don't care. He's another one that goes from girl to girl. He doesn't consider what he's leaving behind. It is what it is. Mark ends up leading the conversation over to like, what is her definition of love? And that makes her cry. And he gives her a really good pep talk. Love him. I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember it was good shit. Lino is flirting with Alexa and Alex sees that clip and he's like, I'm here to test myself. And she's like, well, yeah, I know. I, again, have to just hope that we come back together. It's not great to see, but it is what it is. But again, very low on the list of things that could be happening over there, as you can see. And Taylor sees the washing off of the mud and kissing and falling in love with Kay. And Taylor is like, I don't feel anything about it. Again, I'm proud of who I'm becoming here. I thought I brought him here to fix whatever's going on with him. And I realized it was more for me. I've learned so much and I'm loving who I'm becoming. And I'm like, yes, work, queen. Now the men. Grant sees Ashley kissing Danny. And as they keep kissing and in the bed kissing and whatever, he's like, okay, it's fine, Mark. You could, it's okay. Mark, you can turn it off. He's like, you know, it seems pretty over. I think it was over when she didn't send a message. Not when he cheated on her, but yeah, when she didn't send a message, that's when it was over. It is what it is. And Mark kind of understands it as a bit of relief coming from him. And he's like, you feel relief that it's over. Why? And he says, be honest with why. Don't be a good guy on paper. Be the honest guy right now. And I'm like, work! That is a word. Yes. Grant is a piece of shit. But the worst part about Grant is that he thinks he's doing the right thing. I think my theory is that he thinks he's actually doing the right thing, sustaining a relationship that doesn't need to continue. And instead of just ending it, he's like, I'll just cheat on her. And then get mad at her for not getting over me cheating on her. Scary. And Mark holds him accountable. He's like, what you said this entire time is, if it doesn't work, it's her fault for not getting over the resentment. And the best thing you can learn from this, regardless of what things happened with you and Ashley, is taking ownership for your part, regardless of the relationship you go into in the future. Now, I don't think Grant understands what those words mean. He doesn't. Lino sees Alexa basically saying a bunch of good shit about him. He does say something about how he put himself into a place to be tempted. And he's like, yeah, I'm really proud of myself that I haven't fallen into temptation. And the shady ass cameraman sends it over to Breon and he's looking like, damn. Like that finally, like, wow, shit, I definitely fell to temptation. Like that is in deep contemplation. It's insane. I wonder why, bitch ass. Tyler sees Taylor making out with the Yemen and how happy she is. And I guess he just kind of says like, well, I guess we both found what we were kind of looking for. Again, I always thought they were kind of over when they came to the show. So this is just like the final straw, I guess. Breon sees Shantae crying after seeing the threesome. You know, her being like, I look stupid. I'm over here like journaling about him and wearing his jewelry. We're talking about kids and I'm just looking over here stupid. Breon goes into the whole admitting how he thought their problems is Chantel, what she needs to do, what she needs to have, what she needs to be better at. And the problem was always me. I've never given her the space to be that emotional with me. And sure, this bleeds into him giving the story of his upbringing, which was full of neglect and abuse, and his birth parents were on drugs and he was taken out of his home when he was 2 and he was abused in the foster system and taken into a home with white parents as a black child. And so he left home at 17 after presumably being abused in that context as well. And then he's been forced to depend and think only about himself this entire time, which understandable as a coping mechanism, but is not conducive to a healthy relationship. And at the risk of sounding callous, and I don't want to because that is harrowing shit. Like, that's terrible. That leaves an impression on you, most likely not great impressions on you. I also don't think that's an excuse to hurt those around you. Unfortunately, it tends to be the damage that's just allotted to the path of a man finding himself a lot of times. Like, in the grand story of a man becoming actualized, there has to be this path of broken and abusive and toxic relationships in their wake until he reaches his actualization, which often he does not. But it's just like this wake of people who lent empathy and lent consideration and gave him space and gave him a place, hopefully, to feel safe. And they're just like, what is the phrase I'm thinking of? No, that's not the word I'm looking for. Innocent bystander. Innocent casualties? Is that the word I'm looking for? Collateral damage. They're just collateral damage. Shit. They're just collateral damage to the path to actualization of a man, which is bullshit. I am empathetic to that. I am empathetic to the abuse and the way that shapes and misshapes your understanding of love and affection and relationships. But I also don't think that's an excuse to be abusive. I'm just going to say the word outright because I feel like it's bad enough to cheat. This is some otherworldly shit, okay? This is some crazy shit to do. This is an abusive thing to do, to cheat on her publicly. And also, they in the church, right? You know, everybody in the fucking church gonna see that shit. Family gonna see that shit. Him cheating on her, because she gonna take his ass back. So now everybody gotta know he dogged you out, made you look stupid. And he was like, yeah, it was just his path to actualization. That. There we go. Finally got around to it. Okay. I need him to be alone. I need him to work on himself for at least a year. And that's very low. That's a lifetime of struggles that he's had to go through. And a year is not enough time, but that's a start. I need him to be alone, not date nobody. Honestly, consider a path of celibacy for a while as well. You obviously have a relationship with sex that is concerning, I think. It's not just being a freak. Being a freak is fun. When you're safe and you're not doing things that are detrimental to yourself or others, be a freak. Freak it up. This didn't feel like being a freak to me. This felt like self-sabotage, personally. If he was single and he just wanted to have a threesome, that's one thing. He came on here explicitly to not cheat. Not only did you cheat, you blew it up. You cheated the and that, to me, rings less about how I'm a freak and more about how I hate myself. Anyway, to end the episode on a good note, I guess, it ends with Lino saying now that he and Alexa are pretty sure about each other, he's decided to pop the question. He's going to ask her to marry him, which kind of makes him not that interesting for the rest of the show. Basically, he's just going shopping with one of the girls at the house. He brings one of them on their date, and the date is her helping him find a ring for Alexa, which is very cute. But that's basically him. That's it for him. As well as Alexa, she don't really do shit either. She hasn't really done shit the whole time. Again, boring, which is what you want to be on a show like this. Episode 9, they decide to have their final date. It's an overnight date. And being that this is the last time they'll have a date before a bonfire, which is the final bonfire where they see each other in person, they can do whatever they want in their original partners. They won't see it until, I guess, the show comes out. Breon ends up talking to Amaya. And again, they seem to be on good terms. They seem to fight a lot because she holds him accountable. And then eventually they make up. And she's like, I've seen a lot about how you've grown. I feel like you've gotten a lot more insight on yourself. He also kind of is in his doom spiral where he's like, yo, I really things up. Like, most of the bonfires, Shantae isn't even talking or interacting with a guy. She's talking to girls about how hurt she is, how much she loves me, and how much I up. And again, they've seemed to have formed a friendship that has a lot of her holding him accountable, and he needs somebody, I guess, in his life to hold him accountable who isn't him in particular. So they seem to have built a friendship, and they hang out overnight, but she makes him sleep on the floor in a sleeping bag. She sleeps in the bed, which is funny. Everybody else has their overnight dates, and it goes the way that you would expect. Grant and Natalie, Kay and Tyler, Yaman and Taylor, Danny and Ashley. It's the people you'd expect. And if it's people that you don't recognize, they're not important. And they have their dates, they say goodbyes, and now we're leading into the final bonfire, which is confronting your original partners and deciding whether or not you want to leave with a new partner, leave with your old partner, or leave alone. Episode 10. So The way that the confrontations or the meetups face to face will work is that each person will be able to say what they need to say uninterrupted. After each of them do that, they then have a conversation, hashing things out, reaching their conclusions. And at the end of that, they will say their decision, staying, leaving alone, leaving with another person, what have you. So the first up is Shantae and Breon. I already knew she wasn't leaving them because they're the first people going. And I was like, I'm open to being wrong. Oh, I would be so happily, delightfully surprised. But I highly doubt she's about to leave this. So he crying, supposedly. He like keep doing like this, but I don't see a tear fall. But okay, he hugging her all hard and he's sniffling. And, I just... whatever. Shantae goes first for her uninterrupted part, and she's like, your actions do not align with how you, again, assured me that we'd have nothing to worry about. We'd be unscathed. You said that you can have platonic friendships with women, and that wasn't shown. And also you saying you don't regret it made me feel worthless and like bad. Breon again cries and he apologizes for hurting her, and he says that he realized that he was using all those women to fill a void from his childhood. And I'm listening like, yeah, he's gonna go on about, I'm sorry, my knee-jerk thought was like, yes, he's gonna go on about he had glass, bones, and paper skin. Every morning I break my arms and every night I break my legs. But no, in all seriousness, again, that's a lot of trauma. I understand that. And I'm not trying to undermine that. But I get so frustrated in this moment because if he is as I expect him to be, he will reach this realization of how much his painful childhood has affected him and how that has made, so many problems going on. And now he realizes that and he wants to work on that. Maybe he'll say he'll go to therapy, which he does. But my concern is, one, he has not lost anything by acting this way. And unfortunately for a lot of people, particularly men, once they feel forgiven, I don't perceive him doing or continuing the work to actually look in on why he acts this way. And instead, it's going to be just another way to keep her in a relationship and this cycle of misuse and abuse that is him treating her like shit and her not going anywhere because she's so empathetic that she's like, I understand why he acts that way. So, I can't give up on him, which is the cycle of abuse. Like, that is the way that this shit happens. It's like you understand why they do those things, and that empathy is manipulated that keeps people in toxic relationships. Because I guarantee that even if he starts therapy, he won't stay in it. I don't believe he will stay in it, especially if he is able to stay in the relationship anyway. She forgives him because she knows he has all these problems. He ain't gonna go to therapy. I think there would be a slightly better chance that he would go and continue to go if he lost something because of it. And I hate that it's that way. He needs to lose things. And again, the fact that he had so much assuredness that she not gonna go nowhere lets me know that he feels no need to actually change. I don't think he does. He just needs to be slightly better, maybe in his mind, than he was right before he cheated. And I'm just tired. I'm tired. Like, he showed his ass. I'm not trying to undermine how traumatic that upbringing is. It is bad. It is terrible. He did not deserve that. He did not deserve to be treated like that as a child and as a youth. I agree. That's why I need him to heal and leave people alone for a bit. I need you to heal and not make that the job of women around you as your therapist, not make that the job of women to be treated terribly by you and forgive you and constantly give you this grace. I need you to take accountability for that and do it by yourself so that you stop hurting people. And then after you do some actual growth and accountability, then come back and maybe consider a relationship. But I don't think it should be with Shantae. I think you've burned that bridge, and that bridge, you've burned it. And I don't think anything is improved by her deciding to take the ashes and try to put it back together, because that's ultimately what it's going to be. It's not going to be him. She has to get over her resentment. She has to get over her embarrassment. She has to get over the way that you completely disrespected her in public. Nasty work. He says, if you give me the chance, I will be a great father and husband. Again, no evidence of that, but okay. And she's like, this isn't some shit you do to a person you love, which is real. He says that he wants to leave the island with her and wants to build that trust back. And Shantae needs a moment, and she goes off and cries in the arm of a producer. She's like, I don't know what to do. And when she comes back, she does go back and forth. She was like, you crossed a boundary and I need to respect myself. But she doesn't end up doing that and instead decides to leave with him kind of sheepishly. Honestly, the least she could have did was take his ass back off camera. I've had so much secondhand embarrassment for her on camera. The least she could have did is succumb to his bullshit off camera. This is another embarrassment. Embarrassing you again. Jesus. 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 You niggas piss me off. You niggas put my blood pressure up. But anyway, no surprise for me. Next up, we have Tyler and Taylor. Taylor and Tyler have their bonfire and it's a mess. Honestly, Tyler's kind of full of shit. And he says something along the lines of like, I'm not leaving here with Kay. And she's like, you are leaving here with Kay, yada, yada, yada. He's like, no, I'm not. And then he leaves with Kay and she's like, I'm going to leave by myself. I've learned so much about myself. I'm so proud of who I've become throughout this. And it's unfortunate that you will not get to meet this new version of me. You will not get to be with this new version of me. And I hope that's true. I don't think so. I think she will take him back after the show, but that was just my first guess. And afterwards, she's like, you know, I don't feel like I'm losing anything. We were pretty done. Feel like this is just closure, essentially. Next, we have Ashley and Grant, which was wild as It shouldn't surprise me anytime Grant talks, but it always does. Again, he continues to have the nerve to say how he felt so disrespected in their relationship, and he forgives her and is sorry for hurting her. But more importantly, I forgive you and I forgive myself. He assures her that he didn't end up with Natalie out of spite. He did it because he built a connection with her, and it's like, whatever.
Really realized how disrespected and belittled I feel in a relationship. I forgive you, and I forgive myself.
Ashley, who is giving? She comes in, her forehead back here. She got her ponytail up here. She's glowy. She's giving profile. She's giving lashes. She's giving titties. It's a cute dress and legs. She's leg crossed. She has the posture. She's shoulders. She's like, what is this motherfucker gotta say? Basically, the entire aura around her is this motherfucker wasting my time. And she says basically that. She was like, you brought me on here to prove that you weren't this person, only to prove that you were. And I'm embarrassed that I wasted my time with you for this long. You're a serial cheater. You've cheated on every person you've been in a relationship with. And when I saw you cheat, I just felt relief that you were the person that I thought you were all along. They then have their conversation. And she basically says, the moment we separated, I thought it was over. It was done. And he was like, yeah, me too. Because like the way that you talk about me, I've always felt so disrespected. I thought you pre-decided that I was gonna fuck up and you called me a piece of shit. How do you think that made me feel? How do you think that made me feel, Ashley?
Don't appreciate the disrespect. I do not appreciate the belittling. I don't appreciate you emasculating me.
What exactly did you hear me say?
The universe sent me a piece of shit. I'm never gonna trust him. I don't want that guy. I'm never gonna let go of this. That's what I heard. How do you think I feel?
And she's like, yeah, How do you think it made me feel that you thought I was going to cheat on you when I was cheating on you? And she's basically like, yeah, I did talk shit about you. My bad, but I don't care. Like, she's really at that point, it's like, whatever. Like, whatever floats your boat, my guy. Like, it is what it is. At the end, he says that he's decided that he wants to leave the island by himself, which I knew was some bullshit. Like, immediately once he left the camera, he was going to call Natalie. And Ashley's like, I'm leaving with a connection that I met here. I'm leaving with Danny. And he has the nerve to... And then she walks off. She's like, yeah, whatever. And then the show ends with Lino and Alexa getting engaged. So good for them. At least one couple survived and actually ended in a more progressed place than they were when they started. So that's the show. Because for some reason, they didn't have a reunion. Not an official one, at least. But they did have a reunion and aftermaths that took place on social media that I have been made aware of, some of it. The things that I've recounted in this video have been the thoughts as I was watching the show. There were other things that confirmed some thoughts that I was having already, and that will have to be next time because I realize I've been sitting here for quite a little while and I want to take these braids out. I'm going to end it there. If you like this video, feel free to like this video. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram and Bluesky, both of which are KennieJD. If you have anything that you would like me to see, oh my God, let me take this moment right now. I would like to say before we close this out, for those of you that are messaging me and commenting me and adding me to watch Straw by Tyler Perry, I have no, I'm not making a video because the movie sucks. And I feel like I'm getting gaslit by particularly older black people and the girl that braided my hair that it was a good movie. And I watched it. It's not a good movie. It's not a good movie. It's actually really terrible. I think we're just gaslit because it's better than the average Tyler Perry movie because Taraji P. Henson is in it. It's not a good movie. I don't want to make a video on it because I don't want to watch it again, to be quite frank with you. And also, I want to take a break of talking about Tyler Perry. I feel like he's releasing movies to spite me personally. And I've made this joke before, but it's becoming less of a joke each time he comes out with something because I feel like every day that coming out with 6 movies and I'm not doing it. Can't do it, won't do it. Can stop, will stop. So if anyone wanted to know my thoughts on it, it's bad. But yeah, that's that.
Thanks again to today's sponsored ThreadUp. Feel free to check them out using the code Kennie50 for 50% off using the link down below.
And I will see you guys next time.